Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and another episode of You Request, I React. This request has become very time sensitive. This was requested by multiple viewers, the most recent one being Lindro Miguel. Hope I'm saying your name right. And apparently, the fact that she didn't even know that Thor was big cringe shows that maybe she started with 2018 God of War and not the OG God of War games. Personally, I don't think there's anything cringy about starting the game whenever I want, but appreciate the feedback. And please don't go harass anybody on my behalf, or how about just don't do it at all. I find it amusing and I hope you do too. I do want to get to know Kratos' history more before getting into Ragnarok. In fact, before I played 2018, I did take a look at one of the synopsis videos, but only at a glance. And since Kratos has such a complex history, I think it's worth watching it again. Today is the day. Since there wasn't a specific link tied to this request, I'll just react to the best one I can find. God of War Original Saga Story Summary, what you need to know from Suggestive Gaming. Without further ado, let's get cracking. Let's do it.
With the upcoming God of War for PS4, we see series protagonist Kratos taking on a new mythological foe, so we here at Suggestive Gaming figured now would be a good time to go over Kratos' first set of opposition, the Greek Pantheon. So strap yourself in, because this is what you need to know about the entire original God of War saga, from start to finish. Our story begins with the Primordials, the very first beings to come into existence, fighting for control of their creation, Earth. This war ravished the world, and eventually the three Furies were born from the rage and power of the battle. The Furies were then tasked to honor oaths between the various beings of Earth. Their first victim was the Hecatoncheires, Aegeon, who had broken an oath to one of the first gods, Zeus. To make an example of Aegeon, the Furies petrify his body into the prison of the damned for anyone who dared to break an oath in the future. Eventually, the Furies began to take guidance from the god of war, Ares, who convinced them to join him in a siege on Olympus. Believing their forces to be too weak, the Queen of the Furies, Alecto, birthed a son with Ares, hoping to create a powerful warrior. This warrior, Orcos, proved to be a failure in Ares' eyes and was disowned. However, the Furies decided to use him as their oath keeper. With Ares still in search for his warrior to help take over Olympus, Zeus hears of a prophecy foretelling his death at the hands of one of his sons, a marked warrior. Ares is then tasked to find and dispose of this threat. Ares discovers Deimos, a young Spartan who bore a birthmark all over his body, and storms the city to capture him. During the kidnapping, Deimos' brother, another young Spartan by the name of Kratos, attempts to stop the god, but he is struck down, leaving a scar over his right eye. Ares attempts to kill Kratos for this, but his sister, Athena, the goddess of war, convinces him to spare the boy. Deimos is then taken to the god of death, Thanatos, to prevent the prophecy and protect Zeus. Kratos, tortured by his inability to save his brother, vows to never fail like that again and tattoos a replica of Deimos' birthmark on himself in remembrance. Kratos' rage and pain remained with him as he became a leading member of the Spartan army, eventually marrying a Spartan woman named Lysandra, and the two have a daughter whom they name Calliope. Calliope unfortunately contracts a plague, which infects her skin and causes the Spartan authorities to decide for her to be thrown into a chasm and left to die. Kratos then sets off to find the cure for her disease, a mysterious element with the exceptional healing abilities called ambrosia. Unbeknownst to Kratos, the gods had a wager in which they selected various heroes whom they believed would be the first to obtain the ambrosia. Kratos was chosen by Ares, likely due to their prior run-in in which Kratos displayed his resilience and bravery. After battling the other gods' selected heroes, Kratos fights a climactic battle with an army of barbarians and their leader Ulrich, who was trying to retrieve the ambrosia to heal his own father. Kratos eventually bests Ulrich and captures the ambrosia, but at the cost of many of his men. Upon returning to Sparta, Kratos heals his daughter, and the king of Sparta bestows on him the title of captain. As captain of the Spartan army, Kratos leads his men to many victorious battles, often slaying scores of enemies with an increasing hunger for power, despite the wishes of his wife. Eventually, Kratos comes across a familiar enemy, the barbarian king Ulrich, who still blames Kratos for his father's death. Kratos and his army are no match for the rebuilt barbarian army, and Kratos, moments away from death at the hands of Ulrich, calls out to Ares in desperation. Ares, seeing a candidate to overthrow Olympus, accepts Kratos' offer of loyalty and kills the barbarians in exchange. He then gives Kratos the Blades of Chaos, symbolizing his servitude to the god of war. Under Ares' loyalty, Kratos slays many innocents, razes villages, and spreads chaos in the neighborhood. Under Ares' influence, Kratos slowly loses his humanity with every battle fought for the god. Soon, Kratos is tasked to raid a village of Athena's followers due to Ares' jealousy of Athena, whom their father Zeus favored. There, he encounters an oracle who warns Kratos of dark things awaiting him inside the city's temple. Kratos ignores this warning and enters the temple, blindly slaughtering those inside. However, afterwards, Kratos comes to realize that those inside the temple were none other than his beloved wife Lysandra and daughter Calliope. Ares reveals that he had transported them there secretly in order to sever Kratos' human ties and create the perfect warrior. Kratos leaves the bodies of his family inside the temple to burn, and as he exits, the Oracle curses him, binding the ashes of his wife and child to Kratos' skin, forcing him to wear another reminder of his failures and turning him into the ghost of Sparta.
Tail.
Kratos then renounces his allegiance to Ares and breaks his oath, causing the Furies to hunt him down and torture him with endless illusions. Kratos then finds himself trapped in an illusion of his former home in Sparta. Orcos appears before him and helps him break the illusion using Lysandra's necklace and ring. Orcos then convinces Kratos to seek out Aletheia, the Oracle at Delphi. He finds the Oracle captured, but is unable to prevent her from being mortally wounded. Before her death, she informs Kratos that the only way he can be free of his oath to Ares would be to slay the oath's enforcers, the Three Furies. Kratos returns to Orcos, who informs him of Ares' true intentions all along to use him to overthrow Zeus. With this knowledge, Kratos travels to Delos to slay the Furies. Upon his arrival, however, he is ambushed and captured by them, and they proceed to torture him in the prison of the damned. After 2 weeks of torture, one of the Furies leaves an opening for Kratos to exploit and escape his imprisonment. After various battles and illusions, Kratos is able to outsmart and outfight the Furies, slaying all 3 of them. After the death of the Furies, Kratos returns to his home in Sparta, where he finds Orcos, who reveals to Kratos that while he had killed the Furies, they transferred Kratos' oath to him, keeping the bond with Ares intact. Orcos hands Kratos his blade and asks him for an honorable death in order to permanently end Ares' hold on them. Kratos complies, killing Orcos and burning his home with the former Oathkeeper's body still inside. No longer under servitude to Ares, Kratos dedicates his life to serving the gods of Olympus as their trusted warrior. After defeating an invading Persian army for the gods, Kratos appears before them to ask for his next task. Suddenly, however, he sees the sun fall from the sky, enveloping the world in darkness. Kratos follows the last trace of light he can see to the temple of Helios. After speaking to Athena, Kratos concludes that Helios had been captured, allowing the god of dreams Morpheus to entrance other gods into a deep sleep, allowing him to take control of Greece. Inside the temple, Ios, Helios' sister, tasks Kratos to awaken her brother's fire steeds in order to find him. In return, she promises to relieve Kratos of his nightmares, which haunt him in the form of a melody his daughter used to play on her flute. He does this, and the steeds take him to Helios' location, the underworld. There, he meets Charon, the ferryman on the river Styx, who ultimately denies Kratos passage, as it is not his time. Kratos engages him, but is knocked unconscious and thrown into Tartarus, the darkest depths of the underworld where the Titans had been chained by Zeus. Upon waking, Kratos witnesses Atlas's chains broken and the Titan missing. Kratos fights his way through Tartarus, eventually climbing out to confront Charon once again. After defeating him, Kratos uses his ferry to follow Helios' light down the river Styx to a temple. There, Kratos sees his daughter upon the shore. He follows her inside, but instead finds Persephone, the queen of the underworld. Persephone reveals to Kratos that he can meet his daughter once again, and she is now residing in the Elysium Fields. Persephone tells Kratos that to see his daughter, he must make a sacrifice, to give up all of his weapons and powers given to him by the gods. Kratos does this, transferring his powers into the Forsaken Tree, and regains his humanity. He reunites with his daughter, but the reunion is interrupted by Persephone, who reveals her true intentions. She reveals that it was her who released Atlas, whom she tasked with destroying the pillar that holds the earth. She intends for this to kill everyone, including herself, to free her from her imprisonment by Hades as his wife. Kratos painfully makes the decision to give up his ability to see his daughter and regains his weapons from the tree. Doing this, he once again becomes the ghost of Sparta and, against his daughter's wishes, takes off to stop Persephone. Kratos finds the queen at the base of the pillar, and she carries him to the top. There, the two engage in a final battle. During this battle, Persephone attempts to confuse Kratos and convince him to return to Elysium to be with his daughter. Kratos resists this, however, and Persephone orders Atlas to take care of him. Atlas does not get this chance, however, as Kratos chains the Titan to the ceiling of the underworld and returns to Persephone, besting her in battle and killing her. Her body explodes, destroying the pillar and leaving Atlas as the only thing holding the world together. Atlas, though defeated, taunts Kratos as he remains a slave to the gods. Kratos accepts this fate, as he can only hope that serving the gods will cause them to one day free him from his nightmares. Atlas then predicts to Kratos that they will meet again before Kratos leaves to return Helios to the sky. Weak, and now knowing that his sins will never allow him to see his daughter again, Kratos falls from the chariot, landing on a cliff overlooking the Aegean Sea. Sometime after waking, Kratos is sent into the sea to kill a Hydra and return peace to the waters. After doing so, he is approached by Athena, who asks Kratos to save her city, Athens, from her brother Ares, whose army is currently advancing. Kratos, seeing an opportunity to get revenge on Ares, agrees on the condition that the gods free him of his nightmares once and for all, as well as offer him a chance at redemption. Kratos enters Athens to find the town's oracle, who tells him that in order for a mortal to defeat a god, he must seek the power of Pandora's box, which is locked inside a temple constructed on the back of the Titan Kronos, who Zeus cursed to wander the desert of lost souls for eternity. Kratos makes his way to the temple, encountering a mysterious gravedigger on the way. Inside the temple, Kratos solves several puzzles in order to find Pandora's box. However, Ares senses this and throws a pillar from Athens, impaling Kratos and killing him. Ares then arrives and steals the box as Kratos dies and returns to the underworld. However, with help from the gravedigger, who refers to Kratos as my child, he is able to climb from Hades and return to Athens. There, he opens Pandora's box and gains the power to confront Ares. After a battle, Ares tortures Kratos by forcing him to relive his family's death at his hands. Kratos resists this, however, and Ares is forced to strip the Blades of Chaos from Kratos' arms and kills the illusions of his family in front of him. Freed from the illusion, Kratos finds a nearby sword being used as an ornamental bridge and uses it to kill the god of war. The gods praise Kratos for killing the rebelling Ares. Kratos then asks Athena to finally free him of his nightmares. Athena then finally reveals to Kratos that while she can forgive his sins, his nightmares will stay with him forever. Kratos, feeling abandoned by the gods, climbs back to the cliffs overlooking the Aegean Sea, and feeling death as his only escape, throws himself off. However, Athena stops him at the bottom, claiming that there is now an empty throne upon Olympus. Kratos then enters a portal and claims his throne as the new god of war. Still haunted by his memories, Kratos decides to explore his past against Athena's wishes. He makes his way to the Temple of Poseidon in Atlantis. Poseidon attempts to stop Kratos, but he defeats his defenses and reaches the city. There, Kratos finds, much to his surprise, his mother, Callisto, dying on the ground. She reveals to him that his father is the one who brought her there, and that his brother Deimos is still alive but does not have much time. Before dying, she tells Kratos to seek out his brother in Sparta. Kratos then departs Atlantis, but not before encountering the Titan Thera, whom he frees, destroying the city in a flood. Kratos returns to Sparta, but on his way encounters and kills Thanatos' daughter, Erinyes. Upon his arrival to the city, he is praised by its inhabitants, led by a young Spartan who gives Kratos his arms from when he was the commander of the Spartan army. Kratos goes to the Temple of Ares, and after encountering a spirit-like vision of his younger self, he learns that he must return to Atlantis to find Death's domain. Upon returning, however, Kratos is stopped by a statue of Poseidon, inhabited by the god, who warns him that he will pay for sinking the kingdom of Atlantis. Kratos avoids the statue and makes his way through the ruins of the city, eventually coming across the gravedigger once again, who cryptically warns Kratos not to alienate the gods. Kratos then finds the gateway to Death's domain. Inside, Kratos finds and frees his brother, who becomes enraged at him for seemingly forgetting about him for all this time. Thanatos arrives and intervenes, capturing Deimos and bringing him to the same cliff Kratos attempted to kill himself from. Kratos saves his brother and the two reconcile. Kratos gives Deimos his arms, and the two fight Thanatos together. During the battle, Thanatos kills Deimos, and Kratos avenges his brother by finally killing the god of death. A broken Kratos then carries his brother up the mountain, where the gravedigger has prepared a grave for him. Kratos ponders what he has become, and the gravedigger answers, Death, the destroyer of worlds. Athena appears before him and attempts to elevate him to a full god. Kratos stops her, however, and returns to Olympus, claiming that the gods will pay for what they have done to Kratos and his family. Yes. As he leaves, Athena mythically refers to him as brother. The gravedigger then buries Callisto next to Deimos and proclaims upon a third grave that now only one remains, as Kratos returns to his throne and plans his next move against the gods, leading his Spartan army to conquer Greece. After launching this attack, Athena pleads with Kratos to stop. He claims to owe her nothing and turns his back on her to assist his army in the town of Rhodes. There, he spots an eagle, whom he believes to be Athena in disguise, whom robs him of his godly abilities, and instead infuses them into the Colossus of Rhodes, who comes to life and tries to kill Kratos. Zeus arrives and offers Kratos the Blade of Olympus, which he once used to win the great war between the gods and the Titans. Zeus urges Kratos to infuse the blades with his remaining godly powers, which renders him mortal once again, but allows him to destroy the Colossus from the inside. Upon doing this, however, Kratos is crushed by the Colossus' severed hand. Determining that he must retrieve the Blade of Olympus to get his immortality back, he slowly makes his way over to it, only to be stopped by Zeus, who reveals himself to be the eagle that stole Kratos' power, in an attempt to kill him to stop him from overthrowing Zeus as he did with Ares. Zeus then stabs Kratos, killing him. While he is being dragged into the underworld once more, the mother of the Titans, Gaia, saves him and reveals that Kronos, Zeus's father, ate all of his children in an attempt to stop the prophecy that he would die at the hands of one of his sons. Zeus's mother, however, hid him on an island that was actually Gaia. Gaia raised the boy, but he grew vengeful and eventually sought to defeat the Titans, which he did by using the Blade of Olympus. Gaia offers to help Kratos exact revenge on the King of Olympus. Gaia gives Kratos the magical horse Pegasus, and he escapes the underworld to find the Sisters of Fate in order to change his past and kill Zeus. Kratos flies to the Island of Creation, and after besting several powerful foes, including a risen Ulrich, he comes across Icarus, whom he strips of his wings, plummeting below the earth and landing upon Atlas. Originally refusing to help Kratos, still holding begrudgment over his imprisonment at the Spartans' hands, Atlas is eventually persuaded to help him kill Zeus. Atlas helps Kratos return to the surface, where he awakens the Phoenix and flies to the Temple of the Fates to meet the Sisters. There, he expresses his wishes, but the sisters deny him passage. Kratos then confronts the youngest sisters, Lachesis and Atropos, who attempt to take him back to his battle with Ares and force him to die by the god's hand in the past. He avoids this effort and traps the sisters in a mirror, then destroying it to seal them away for eternity. Kratos then makes his way to the eldest sister, Clotho, who operates the Loom of Fate. Kratos kills the final sister and takes control of the loom to change his fate. He turns the thread of fate back to his death at the hands of Zeus and saves his past self by reclaiming the blade of Olympus before Zeus has a chance to. The two then engage in a battle until Zeus stuns Kratos with a lightning storm. Kratos plays possum and pins Zeus before driving the blade of Olympus into the god's chest. Before he can kill him, however, Athena appears and intervenes to protect Olympus. Zeus attempts to escape, Kratos lunges at him with the blade, and Athena sacrifices herself by jumping in front of it, saving her father. Kratos asks Athena why she would do this, and she reveals that she did it to allow Zeus to stop the cycle of sons killing their fathers, finally revealing that Kratos is in fact a son of Zeus. Vowing to destroy Olympus, Kratos returns to the loom and turns back time all the way to the Great War. He calls out to Gaia and they return to Kratos' time, where an injured Zeus is calling on his fellow gods to kill Kratos. The Titan army, led by Kratos, then storm Olympus with the intent to win the Great War once and for all. The Titans and gods wage a very intense and bloody battle as Poseidon begins to take on Gaia. Kratos draws him into Gaia's grasp and is able to weaken him, eventually knocking him onto a platform and beating him before gouging his eyes out and snapping his neck, killing him and flooding the entire world. Kratos and the Titans then make it to the top of Olympus and confront Zeus, who, anticipating their arrival, hits them with a blast of lightning, damages Gaia, and knocks her and Kratos off the mountain. Attempting to hang on, Kratos is then betrayed by Gaia, who lets him fall as he is no longer a use to them now that they have reached Zeus's throne. After falling once again to his death, Kratos makes his way through the river Styx, lamenting that he was used as a pawn by both the gods and the Titans. He then reunites with a reformed Athena, who is willing to help Kratos from her new level of existence. He then realizes the goal of his final quest, extinguishing the flame of Olympus in order to finally defeat Zeus. To do this, however, he must find Pandora, the child of Pandora's box's namesake. Kratos makes his way through Hades and eventually finds Hades' palace, and the dead body of Persephone. Hades arrives and the two battle before Kratos defeats the god, sealing his soul into his own weapons. Kratos then escapes Hades through a gate and encounters Helios, whose head Kratos proceeds to rip off. He then encounters Hermes, who he kills, and later his own half-brother Hercules, whom he also kills. Kratos meets with Aphrodite and her husband Hephaestus in order to find their daughter Pandora. Hephaestus refuses to lead Kratos to her, however, and reveals that after Kratos opened Pandora's box, Zeus became overcome with fear and forced Hephaestus to reveal to the creation of the key of the box, which later took on a life of its own as a girl whom he named Pandora. Zeus then took Pandora and banished Hephaestus. Kratos urges Hephaestus, who tasks him with retrieving the Omphalos stone in order to make a weapon to allow Kratos to find Pandora. In his attempt to find the stone, Kratos comes across Kronos, who assumes he has tried to kill Gaia and attacks him. Kratos fights Kronos and eventually frees the temple from the Titan's body before he eats Kratos. Inside his stomach, Kratos retrieves the Omphalos stone and cuts his way out and kills Kronos once and for all. Kratos confronts Hephaestus, who reveals that he was trying to send him on a suicide mission. Hephaestus attempts to feign innocence before trying to kill Kratos instead. Kratos shakes this off and kills him by impaling him on his own anvil before heading off to retrieve Pandora. Kratos' quest takes him to the Gardens of Olympus, where he finds Hera, the wife of Zeus, drunken and belligerent. After making his way through the gardens, Hera confronts Kratos once again, insulting Pandora and causing Kratos to lash out and snap her neck, causing all plant life to die. Kratos makes it to the labyrinth and finds Daedalus, the labyrinth's architect. Trapped inside, Daedalus claims that Zeus promised him that he would have his son Icarus back once he completed the labyrinth. Kratos reveals that Icarus was in fact dead before activating a trap and killing the architect. Inside the labyrinth, Kratos finds Pandora and takes her with him. In the flame of Olympus' chamber, Kratos raises the labyrinth to access Pandora's box. However, Kratos refuses to let Pandora sacrifice her life, as he does not want to cause her death as he did his own daughters. She chooses to embrace her fate, however, and breaks free, only to be stopped by Zeus. Zeus mocks Kratos for showing care for Pandora as if she was his own, and tosses her aside before engaging in battle with his son once again. During the battle, Pandora attempts to run into the flame in order to put it out before Kratos grabs her to stop her. Pandora pleads with Kratos to let her seal her fate, and Zeus provokes him by telling him not to fail Pandora like he did his own family. Kratos reluctantly lets her go, and the flame of Olympus is extinguished. In the wake, Kratos opens Pandora's box once again, only to find that it is now empty. Zeus mocks his son once again, and the two meet outside and gaze upon the destruction Kratos has caused. The two are interrupted by Gaia, however, and she tries to kill them both. The two then enter a wound in Gaia's chest and fight beside her heart, draining the life out of it. Kratos, powered by the heart of Gaia, then impales Zeus into it with the blade of Olympus, finally killing both Gaia and his father Zeus. Awakening upon a broken Earth, Kratos finds Zeus's body and retrieves the blade. However, as he tries to leave, Zeus's spirit attacks Kratos and drains him of his anger and willpower, replacing it with fear and loss, the forces that plagued his father. Trapped in his psyche and once again being tortured by his memories, the spirit of Pandora appears and helps Kratos abolish these torments through hope. Kratos returns to the physical world and forces Zeus' spirit back into his body. Kratos then charges him and beats him to death with his bare hands, finally killing him and destroying Olympus for good.
Daddy.
Afterwards, Athena appears once more and congratulates Kratos, asking him to turn over the power he found inside Pandora's box so she could finally give it to mankind. Kratos laments that the world is destroyed, and anything she would have to give would be useless. More so, the box was empty, and Kratos believed Pandora had died in vain, simply another casualty in his quest for vengeance. Athena reveals to Kratos that when the evils of the Titans were first sealed into the box, she placed the most powerful weapon in the world beside them to counteract them, the power of hope. Athena had initially believed that when Kratos opened the box for the first time, all of its evils had transferred onto him, and hope was lost, when in actuality the evils went to the gods on Olympus and hope was buried deep in Kratos under his pains. Only upon forgiving himself was the power able to release inside of him. Kratos, realizing he has nothing left to live for, impales himself with the blade of Olympus, freeing the power of hope into the mortal world. Athena is angered by this and tells Kratos that she is disappointed, to which he responds with a final laugh before she removes the blade, leaving him to die. Sometime later, we see the mural where Kratos' body once was, now abandoned, with nothing but a trail of blood leading to the Great Sea that now enveloped the world.
What a sad past. So far I haven't seen any like
thank you so much for
happy,
watching what has become the
moments.
biggest What You Need to Know yet. We appreciate all of your support, and if we left anything out, please feel free to leave it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more as they come out. We think you'll enjoy the next one. See you then.
Thank you for that video. Wow, guys, that was a lot of information. I'm gonna have to watch it again and again. I'm sorry to say this, but I feel like that was one of the most convoluted story I've seen out of all the games I've played. I mean, I didn't technically play them, but even just this 20-minute summary of 1, 2, 3 it was so much. I don't think I really grasped all of the stories, but I think at least I got the gist of it. Basically, he started off as someone innocent, and in order to save his brother, kind of followed the instructions of the Greek gods and goddesses, betrayed over and over again, died over and over again during the whole process, never got a good night of sleep. You know, that kind of like sleep deprivation is bound to make someone aggravated all the time. From watching this, you can tell even after all that he had been through, there was still the goodness in him. Several times he tried to save different people. And another thing that's interesting about this history is the cycle of sons killing fathers. It seems like they didn't successfully end that cycle. I mean, Kratos did it, Baldur did it, and I'm now concerned that the same thing might happen between Atreus and Kratos. I really hope not, but it just seems like such a low-hanging fruit for the plot line. They might just grab it and break our hearts. So what do you guys think? If this is the first time you're watching this saga, and if you are an expert on this series, feel free to shower me with your knowledge in the comments also, and I will read them all carefully. The thing is, after watching this, you still don't know how Kratos and Atreus landed in the Norse mythology. Kratos came from Greek mythology. I thought this video would explain some background about this wife who gave him Atreus. We only saw her death at the beginning of the previous game, and the dagger she used, which now belongs to Atreus, and the love that they have for each other. But I don't know, I still don't know who she was. What's her name again? Freya? Yeah, I still don't know how Faye and Kratos met, how long they were married. It just seems like there's a big gap between 1, 2, 3, the Greek mythology part, and then the beginning of the Norse mythology part. From my understanding, there won't be another God of War installment within the realm of Norse mythology, which means they will have to explain everything in the upcoming Ragnarok game, right? I hope really do. Otherwise, they're just leaving it up to the fans' imaginations, although that might be kind of fun too. So I own God of War 3, and I plan to play it either on the channel or on my own. Some of you guys suggested that I should just skip playing 1 and 2 because of the outdated mechanics. That might be frustrating. Would you be interested in seeing God of War 3 on the channel? I mean, not at the same time as we're running Ragnarok. I mean, I don't want to drive myself crazy or you. Now I feel like I'm more ready than ever, and I hope to see you guys all when that series begins. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any recommendation, any videos you want me to react to, feel free to drop the links in the comments below. I will get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!